Both streams should be up and running now. All right. We'll be going over the market, going over today's plays. Pretty challenging day. I struggled throughout the day, really, today. We'll go over the trades, talk about kind of why I took them. We'll talk a little bit about maybe why they didn't work, but we'll go through all of that. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for November 23rd, 2021. Q is going to finish up down, finish here down almost 0.5%, 0.46 there. SPY basically flat, up 0.12, and then IWM, which was the first to turn bearish, down 0.21. Here's the hourly downtrend that we've been following on the IWM. Maybe tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, we may get a sell set up here. That's what we'd be looking for. That's what it's been working off of this hourly downtrend here. And actually, Qs and SPY all putting in the same pattern more or less. We got the bounce a little bit this afternoon. I was thinking this afternoon would be the earliest we get the sell set up, but because we got continuation first, we got the gap down and then continuation, sell setup here is still forming. Okay, basically the retracement back to the declining 20 MA. Okay, so Qs and SPY, we will be short-term bearish on the Qs and SPY going into tomorrow. We're waiting for the sell setup to finish. All right, if we fail on the sell setup, right, that'll put us back to neutral, and then we'll be actually looking more bullish because of the larger time frames. But right now we're just following the hourly downtrend on the Qs here. Okay, so we're waiting for that lower high to form. All right. So bearish bias going into tomorrow. Timing wise, waiting to see that hourly sell setup. All right, let's go over the plays from today. ANF, really nice gap down today. Underneath the base, room back to the next base below here, back to support, back to the 200. Opened late, and then also had some spread. So I didn't see it when it opened here. Had like 20-25 cent spread, I think, at the time, which is fine for a 70-80 cent stop. Ended up letting it go because of the spread. But that would have worked out pretty well there. Just that 1 minute basically high-low because it opened on the second bar. This actually wasn't really open. Volume didn't kick up like you would expect at the open. And had some pretty good follow through on the ANF. Eventually bottomed before the end of the day, just like the market did. All right, but that was pretty good. Good combination of the gap, good combination of the entry. I just thought it was a little bit spready, and that got me to hesitate. Okay, I played the RLX. The RLX played it at the open here. I'll show you the gap here, gapping above. This previous gap up that failed. So played it at the open. Ended up doing it as a high-low here. If I had done it with a bit of a tighter stop, again, another example where I don't think this was actually open on the first bar. Usually that first bar, the volume should be a lot bigger. I ended up playing this as kind of a high-low this way, basically incorporating this whole bar into the play. That was a 25 cent bar. If I had played it this way, cuts it in about half, 12, 13 cent stop. So if I'd played it more of this breakout, then I actually would have gotten a better target here, up here. Instead, because it was only up like an hour and a half, I was looking for something closer to $6 as a target. I wasn't able to get out much, and I still held on to most of it, and then it ended up failing on the RLX. So that was a little bit tough, definitely disappointing. You know, I missed the ANF, kind of backed off the ANF to make sure I could catch this one. Was expecting bigger targets for this, and just didn't quite get there. So a little bit like the PRVB yesterday. So definitely not too thrilled about it. I think it was okay to trail here, maybe underneath this base. I was trying not to mess with it too much and just kind of let it play out, but just couldn't quite get enough out of this, and this just wanted to come in instead. So that's fine on the RLX. And then also went after this A. Here's the gap on this. So it does have some support below, but it's leaving behind quite a few bars, so I do like that. And then we had a base breakdown here. I ended up putting this whole thing together, and so because the 20 MA is still extended, got some follow through, but just not enough. Ended up closing here just basically at the end of the day because it never took out the stop on the A. So I like the gap, showing a lot of weakness. One thing I also really liked about it is, see this move up here, and then it negates the whole move up and all the way back to the lows. So anybody who played it long, still in it, needs to get out, right? Moved up and then back down and then took out the bottom. So got some follow through on it, but wasn't able to close it, get it to a target. That was kind of the theme for today. A little bit follow through here and there, just couldn't get really nice targets on things. So, I mean, there were some things that we, move like the ANF, but there's not a lot. And that's kind of how I felt about yesterday as well. And then LDI, LDI was showing a lot of weakness here. This is now into all-time lows. Okay, breaking underneath this base. Don't know how far it's going to go. I want to be in it till end of day. I was in it till end of day. I played this breakdown here on the 5. Lived through that little pop and pullback, but I mean, it didn't go very far. Maybe it'll go tomorrow or in the days to come because it's a very, very weak daily chart. But it seemed like today had something going on. You can see the volume relative to the previous days. Significant. It's at all-time lows. There's no support below. So, I want to be in it as long as it is willing to continue to downtrend. It just didn't move that much. I actually had a call on it earlier. I was looking for it to base down here and play underneath this bottoming tail. And then it rallied up and canceled it. And then I was saying you could play it as a 15-minute sell setup was okay. That actually was the only way to play it, really, was right here. From what I saw and from what's in my trading plan, this was really the only way to play it as like a 15-minute sell. And that actually would have given you a decent target. Otherwise, it made a little bit on this, but, it still just couldn't really get things to nice, decent targets. I think the gaps on all of them are fine. I mean, this is less so a gap, more just extreme relative weakness and no support below. But the A, I thought it's okay. There's definitely still some support in the way. RLX, is more of kind of a momentum play. It's kind of gapping over a previous area that got sold from. So, I thought the gaps were fine. The setups were fine. Just the follow through was a little bit lacking. So, may have to make an adjustment here to look for some smaller targets if things kind of stay this way. Right now, I'm not really planning on making any changes. Right. But, I mean, yeah, it's a tough day. I thought I definitely struggled. I had a hard time with today. Just couldn't really get anything kind of going to a decent target. And that's just the way trading is sometimes. I think we had a pretty decent earnings season, and now we're approaching the holidays. So, times like this probably need to focus a bit more on quality and not over trade. All right. So, we'll see how tomorrow is. The gaps list today, again, I didn't think was very good. I thought today's gaps list was worse than yesterday's. So I already thought yesterday I had like 3 things on the hot list. Today I had 2. So that's also a good indication of what, the aggressiveness should be for the day. Okay. All right. But hopefully you did well or staying out of trouble. All right. We got a shortened week this week. So tomorrow will be the last kind of full day. All right. So hopefully trade well. And I think the focus here will be picky on the plays and not try to overtrade. All right. All right, guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then.